Hi everybody, it's episode 314 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, August 26th. I am Chris. With me is Walnut.
I'm here.
It's just us tonight.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Oh, it's been a week. That about says
It's only
it.
half over, too.
I know. I have off next week, though, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, weeks off are good.
Yeah, I decided to so for work, I get my birthday, a day off on my birthday month, and I just was like, alright, well, I'll use it the last day of the month, because I don't know when else I'm going to use it. And then with Avengers coming out, and you being able to spend an extra $10 to get it out 3 days earlier on PlayStation, I was just like, yeah, why not just take the whole week off?
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
See, I'm waiting for next Tuesday to play Tony Hawk.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Boy, I am fucking exhausted this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a week. It's been a week.
Well, so Monday I had to go to my one client, in about an hour. And obviously this is not a great pace for this, but in an hour of work, I walked 1.5 miles and probably 20 sets of stairs.
I mean, the stairs is what's killer. It's not really, like the mile, I mean, yeah, walking 1 mile in an hour isn't terrible, but it isn't great, but it's going up.
Yeah, that's not exactly like a pace that you'd thumbs up about.
No.
But 1.5 miles while I'm working.
Yeah. But
Because-
it's more the stairs that are the killer thing.
Yeah, the place I was, they have 3 different network closets in 3 different parts of the building. And then the desk that was having issues is in literally a separate building. And it's just connected by tunnels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was go down a set of stairs, go into a tunnel, go across that tunnel, go down another set of stairs to one room, go back up to another room, go down the hallway to a third room, and then loop all the way back upstairs to the desk that was having the issue. And I did that probably 20 times trying to figure out where it was plugged in.
You know what? Just be happy it was stairs and not a ladder.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, one ladder wouldn't have been that bad if I was just up and down the ladder. But this was flights of stairs, just over and over again, up and down.
You know what that sounds like?
What?
It sounds like you need to get good.
I mean, there's nothing to get good about it. It was just annoying.
Maybe you need to get good about walking up and down stairs.
I mean, I'm fine with walking up and down stairs. I just, that's not exactly how I wanted to spend my day.
No. And also because you're going and visiting a client, you have to look a little bit more professional. You're probably not wearing sneakers.
No, I had dress shoes on. I had yeah. I was a sweaty mess by the end of it because
that's just...
crawling around trying to. I mean, today was the same. Today I had to. So you'll actually appreciate this because you're very much people do what you're told. I was actually telling Erica this before. The client I had to go to today, it's my first time going to their office since March. They've been shut down. They've been remote since March.
Yeah.
They are the only place I have been though that is 100% taking this shit serious. So on September 8th, I think it is, they are going to allow their employees to come back into the office to a limited extent.
Okay.
They don't want everybody in there. They're going to limit how many people can come in at any given time. But so today I was in there specifically to move desks around. Not physical desks, but move people's stuff from one desk to another.
Yeah, workspaces and stuff.
Yeah, so they have a mixture of desks or of offices and cubicles in their space. Yeah. So they moved a bunch of people into empty offices, and then they have the cubicle spaced out where there's at least one empty one between people.
Makes sense.
And then they went around, they put plexiglass, so the cubicles are probably chest high for me, or just under my chin. I can stand at one and look over it without a problem. Maybe shoulder would be a better spot to say.
Yeah.
So they put plexiglass on top of them so that if somebody is standing there talking to the person, they're not just whoops, microphone. They're not just literally breathing into their space.
Yeah.
They also, whereas some places are just taping the floor, they went out and actually purchased a ton of bank rope things, the things that that you'd see at conventions to make lines, the little zip cord things on the metal posts.
Yeah.
That you pull the thing out, you attach it to the next one, you pull the next one out, attach it to the next one.
Yeah.
They bought a bunch of those to signify where you should stand if you're talking to somebody.
Okay.
And then they bought at least 7 high quality HEPA filters and spaced them out around the office.
Yeah, you have to. If you're going to have people working in an office, you have to take these precautions because if
I have other clients that never shut down that their only precaution is if you're walking around, wear a mask. Like, everyone sits exactly where they sat before. If they're at their desk, they take their masks off. Like,
that's nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, like, I get it. Like, if you are, especially for people in offices, if you're in an office and you don't want to have a mask on, like, nobody is right next to you. Take your mask off.
Yeah.
Like, have it nearby so that if you have to talk to somebody, you can put it on. And that's what a lot of places do. Like, a lot of places I've been going, like, if people are in offices, they just close their door and don't have their mask on. And then if you knock on their door, they put their mask on and wave you in.
Yeah. I mean, when I was still working before I got laid off, there was only like 4 of us in the office, and my supervisor texted me and he was like, "Hey, if you want to move to a different seat, you can," because my seat was right next to somebody else's. Like, we have the cubes, and my cube was right next to somebody else's who was also still working. And I was like, you know what? I feel like the way we stand, the way we sit, the way we are, and how far apart we are, we're far enough apart. But like, if I was surrounded on all sides, and I'd been like, all right, I want more space. I want you to do more to protect me, because if one person gets it, the entire office is going to shut down. Has to.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, everything's crazy right now.
Oh, absolutely.
In lighter good news, I bought a new car.
Nice.
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever actually owned a new car.
Yeah, I've never owned a new car. My car is also pre-owned. But it's like new. It's like the newest car I've ever owned. I think my Caliber was in '08. I think I bought in 2010, 2011. And my Sonic now is let's see, what did I buy it in 2018? And
I believe so, yeah.
I think it was a 2017 that I bought in 2018. But what's your new car?
It's a 2020 Elantra.
Nice. You like the Elantras?
I do. Like, they work. They're not overly expensive to have work done to them. Like some cars, like, even like just regular ass, like, sedans, like, they'll have like a weird oil filter or like something like that where, like, rather than you being able to just do the $30 oil change, it's like $60 because of like the weird filter they need or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, they're easy for maintenance. They work well. They have the features I like. I got one of those, like, flyers. Well, I got an email and a flyer of, like, hey, you have a 2017. If you want to bring that in, you can get a new 2020 for, like, no cash down, and, like, your payments are only going to go up, like, $40 or what have you, and all that fun stuff. So, like, I reached out. I'm just like, is this, like, real? Like, I read the fine print. I meet the fine print. Like, is this something that people can actually get, or is this just, like, a scam? I didn't say scam, but
yeah.
They responded, it's like, as long as the car value is estimated to be, like, what it is, then yeah.
Yeah, car companies do that all the time. I'm surprised I haven't gotten one. Actually, I might have, and I just throw it away because I don't care. But, like, yeah, you'll get, like, hey, we're doing a buyback program, so come on, bring your car back. And I have a coworker who has basically gotten a new car every year because when they bought their car, they were offered the buyback program. And, like, they turn around and they're like, but I got a great deal. I got a 6-year mortgage, or a 6-year, or a 5-year, or whatever it is, term on my loan. And I'm like, yeah, but you already had a 5-year term on your loan that became 4 years last year. So now you have a 6-year term on your loan, technically.
Yeah, and so I had 35 payments remaining on my car. So
yeah.
I bought it in June of 2017. It was a 2017, so it was like, it was almost replaced, I guess, but it was also used. It was definitely a like a rental car.
Oh yeah, if you buy a 2017 and 2017 and it wasn't new, yeah, it was definitely rental.
Yeah, but yeah, like, they sent me that, and I'm just like, well, I mean, the price isn't that different. My car already had 60,000 miles on it because I have to drive so much for work. So I'm like, if this is legit and it works, like, it's not going to hurt anything. Like, because of how much I drive for work, I'm never going to just pay off a car and just drive it into the ground, because, like, I can't.
Yeah, if
I need to make
happens.
sure. Yeah, like, I need to make sure that I have a good car for, like, how far I have to go for places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went in, and I got weirdly lucky. It turned out that my car, so there are multiple, you know how, like, every car has, like, multiple versions of it?
Yeah.
So my old one, when it was sold to me, pre-owned, it was sold as an SE, like an Elantra SE.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it was actually an SEL, which is the upgraded version.
Okay. Nice.
The guy who sold it, like, well, so, I mean, the dealership didn't have it listed as that. And, like, the guy who sold it didn't know either. But it explains why he didn't think I was supposed to have a bunch of the features that I did have. Because, like, have you ever been in my car? My old car.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So it had like the screen on it for like backup camera and like radio and all that fun stuff, and it had Android Auto, so I could like plug. And I think yours has the same thing.
Yeah.
So like I can plug my phone in and get maps and everything up on the screen. The SE, the screen is like significantly smaller. No Android Auto. It's just for Bluetooth basically.
Yeah.
And radio. So I asked the guy, I'm like, look, if this is an SEL, what do I have to do to make the new car an SEL? And he's like, let me look. And like he talked to like his manager and like ran the numbers, and it was going to come back as like the same monthly cost. So I'm like, yeah, let's do that instead because I need Android Auto.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense.
I think he realized that like if it didn't come back at least close, like I was just going to walk. Like I didn't need the new car. It was an added bonus if I could get it.
I love haggling for cars because I make sure I get damn well what I want.
Yeah, it's a little harder to haggle price on a new one, I've found, just because like it's new. Like they can only do so much with it. You're better off getting like extras on it than necessarily getting the price down.
Yeah.
Because they can always throw in like an extra package on the car for like cost or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, used cars, it's just like, that's a little high. Can you guys knock that down a little bit?
I when I got my Sonic, I went in there and I was like $250 a month. That's all I can afford. That's it. All right, well, let's see. I'm like, here's a list of cars I looked up. Show me these cars, these exact ones. And the first car he shows me is a Sonic. He's like, well, this isn't the one you were looking at. This is a different one. Let's just test drive it. And I'm like, all right, well, can you get me at $250 a month? And he's like, well, I'll see. I'll try to work with you. And I was there for about 2 hours. And eventually, I wavered and was like 260, 270, probably the max I can go. And they were like, all right, well, we can get you 269 right here, right now. And I'm like, great. Shake my hand. After about 2 hours. And then I went to go like sign the papers, and one of the papers was like, all right, your cost is going to be $350. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, that's with like the certified pre-owned. I'm like, I don't need that shit. My car has 9,000 miles on it. It's got the factory warranty until 50,000. I don't need that. I don't need the certified pre-owned. Just give me my 260. Just all right, and took it off and got the car.
Where did you go?
Cherry Hill Chevy. So it's not the best. Those Cherry Hill dealerships aren't great.
Yeah, part of the reason I keep getting Hyundai is I really like the Turnersville Auto Mall. Like, for one, it's just, there's a bunch of dealerships all right there, and they have the track to do the test drives on.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But, like, so far, like, I've dealt with 2 different people at Hyundai. Because, like, the guy and, like, just by happenstance, like, my last 2 cars plus Erica's, we all ended up with the same sales guy.
Yeah.
And, like, it's mostly by happenstance, because, like, I just went in, he was working. Erica just went in, he was working. And then, like, on the last one, it was more of a, like, I reached out to Hyundai. I'm like, hey, like, I have a 2017 or a 2011 I want to trade in. Like, when can I come in? And because he was on file as, like, the last person I worked with, they just told me, when he would be there.
Yeah.
But he's not back from furlough yet, so it was, like, a different guy. And, like, neither of them were pushy. Neither of them were trying to, like, upsell me on, like, something that was, like, they weren't trying to get me on into, like, a Sonata or a Tucson or, like, something like that. They were like, all right, well, if you want an Elantra, like, the deal is for a new Elantra. Here is the SE. Like, this is what the deal is for. Go ahead, test drive it. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm the one that asked him, like, what do we have to do to upgrade it?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we've got news we could talk about, too.
We do have a little bit of news, but there is so much weird background noise from your end.
It happens.
I was just trying to wait for that stuff to die down. But yeah, so this first thing is just fucking ridiculous. So CW is developing a live-action Powerpuff Girls series. But it's not just a Powerpuff Girls series. It is going to be, and this is what Variety reported, disillusioned 20-somethings who resent having lost their childhood to crime fighting. Will they agree to reunite now that the world needs them more than ever?
I think I'm going to watch it.
I mean, I will probably also watch at least an episode if it gets... So it's only in development.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't cast anything, they haven't ordered a pilot or anything like that. They're just simply kind of like seeing if it'll work. I
feel like this is a good route to go because I feel like they're potentially seeing the success of Umbrella Academy and how it has like the similar features, like his family. They hated being the childhood superheroes. They separated, and now they're getting back together to save the world, kind of thing. But they're resentful for it, and they're like not really too enthusiastic about it. So going in this route fits that Umbrella Academy mold that like might pull watchers in.
So it's also very similar to the Nancy Drew show that's on CW, which is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 20-something Nancy Drew and her friends, and like she is sort of jaded and angry at everything. Not because she spent her formative years solving mysteries, but because life kept throwing fucking curveballs at her.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it could work, but it's also super fucking weird.
Yeah. I love it, and I'm a little bit more excited for it now.
Yeah, I'm at least interested to see like if it comes about and like what they sort of do with it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so some of their other like original properties like just go off the rails.
Like what?
So like Riverdale.
Is that I wouldn't consider that original, but yeah, I guess I've never watched Riverdale.
So I mean, CW doesn't really have original programming. I think they have like 2 shows that aren't based on something else.
Well, let's see, Supernatural, but that's over.
And that was a WB show. That doesn't count.
The 100, I don't think is based off of anything.
That In the Dark show I talked about a couple weeks ago isn't either.
I'm trying to think what else. Vampire Diaries, maybe? I don't know.
That's based on a book series, I think.
Oh, man. CW.
And I think like there's some other shows that were spin-offs of the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there were. That show was huge.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, Riverdale is just fucking bonkers. Like, it went from, like, relatively believable high school drama with, like, a murder mystery wrapped into it.
Yeah.
To, like, Dungeons and Dragons coming to life. Archie fought a fucking bear because he was on the run because he was being accused of murder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, literally, the dude fought a bear in one season.
I've really been meaning to watch Riverdale. I just never got around to it.
Yeah, like they had this whole like Masonic or not Masonic. What's like that college like club thing, like the Skulls or something like that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the secret society, like rich people thing.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, like the last season was basically like a take on that, but at like a private high school. Like it's just so fucking weird.
It is.
Like it's entertaining, but it's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Maybe Powerpuff Girls might not be as weird, but maybe it will be twice.
No,
as weird.
It has to be as weird. If it's not as weird, they fucked up.
Frankly,
if they're not fighting Mojo Jojo, they did something wrong.
It's who would they? Maybe Mojo Jojo. I don't know if they would do Mojo Jojo first season.
Maybe not first season, but he's got to be like the big bad teased at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think first season would just be, if anything, maybe the Rowdy Rough Boys.
So I never watched Powerpuff Girls, so other than Mojo Jojo, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a couple of villains that they could put him up against. I don't think Mojo Jojo would initially be number 1. Him, I don't know if they're going to be... I mean, well, no, they definitely can do him. But, him might be the first villain. Him was the lobster creature thing.
Oh, is him's a character's name?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've never actually seen an episode of Powerpuff Girls.
I watched a good number of them. I enjoyed them.
I know the premise though. Like
yeah.
the dude made the girls in a lab out of sugar and spice and everything nice, and something else
accidentally threw in some chemical X. And I hope the girls are wearing some sort of weird arm prosthetics.
Why?
So, like you said, you never watched the show. All the humans had hands and arms, and like it was they were like they looked human, and even if there were kids on there, they looked human. It was the Powerpuff Girls and the Rowdy Rough Boys, which were all both chemically made. Their arms and legs were rounded, and they didn't really have hands and fingers. Like they did technically have hands.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of them now.
Yeah, so it's like it's always been just like a joke that like, what do they look like now? And they just have these long, round, weird, amorphous arms.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I'm
Yeah.
sure they won't do that. They'll try
No.
to keep it like pseudo grounded,
It's
like as
gonna,
grounded as you can make like a show about like chemically created children.
yeah, it's going to be as grounded as the DC shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of DC,
Yeah, so DC FanDome. Dome.
that's what it was called.
Yes, because they were in the dome.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, it was very good production value for what they could do with.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I completely forgot to watch any of this. I did see the Batman trailer. That's it.
God, you're the worst.
I also saw the Suicide Squad thing.
The game or the movie?
The movie.
Okay.
I got distracted with trying to beat Paper Mario yesterday, and then because it's been super crazy at work the past 2 days, I just forgot.
All right. So we're gonna run through some of the stuff from FanDome, but just like to give kind of like a brief thing, just so you understand kind of what they did. So they shipped a bunch of people green screens, it seemed, so that they could set up a green screen and a camera, and they could actually make it look like they were in this sort of virtual world.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when they did the Suicide Squad reveal, the game, Will Arnett was, like, the MC for it, let's say, and they green screened him into the set of the game that they showed in the trailer, which is like a hotel rooftop sort of thing. Like a hotel rooftop lounge, I should say.
Okay.
And it's Will Arnett, so it was funny, and it got my hopes up that he was maybe going to, like, be voicing, like, Batman or something like that in the game, and he's not. Or at least he doesn't appear to be.
That sucks.
Because honestly, if it's not Kevin Conroy, I will accept Will Arnett.
Yeah, seriously. Like, those are the only two acceptable Batmans right now, are Kevin Conroy and Will Arnett when it comes to voice acting.
Okay, I was going to say, Robert Pattinson looked like he might do alright, and I'm a big Batfleck fan.
Every time I've seen Pattinson in any sort of, like, image for Batman, I always thought it looked good. Like, I've never been down on Pattinson being Batman.
Yeah, like, I've never had a problem with him being Batman, I just didn't know what the movie was going to look like.
Yes.
Like, that guy can act. Like,
He can.
He gets shit for being a sparkly vampire, but even he hated that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the way they were doing it is they either had, like, people that were sort of, like, acting as, like, an MC for stuff, where they'd have, like, they would actually be standing in, like, in front of a green screen, so it looked like they were in this dome, of fandom. And other times they would just do, like, Zoom calls, like everyone was in, like, their own little square, for some of, like, mostly with the movie cast stuff, because they had, people from all the movies on for the most part. But, like, they did a good job with it. Like, they definitely set the bar for, like, how to get this sort of thing out there during the corona.
Yeah.
But so, before FanDome, we got some news that Ben Affleck is going to be returning as Batman for the Flash movie.
Oh, he was a good Batman. I wouldn't say he was a great Bruce Wayne, but he was a good Batman.
But see, the problem was he never got to fucking be Bruce Wayne.
And that's the writing of those two movies. He was never allowed to be Bruce Wayne. So
let's be real. If anybody can fucking play Bruce Wayne, like Playboy millionaire, it's fucking Ben Affleck.
It definitely is and should be. And, like, it is a shame that they didn't write him to be a better Bruce Wayne detective. And the fact that he basically just had to steal all the information from Lex Luthor. Fucking stupid.
Which apparently that is actually one of the... So, I mean, we'll talk about this more later, but from the Snyder Cut, apparently part of that movie is all of the information he gets about the parademons is just from fucking Lex Luthor's journal.
Okay.
Like, he doesn't find out any... So, in the original Justice League, he actually captures one of them.
Oh.
I remember.
I haven't watched it in so long, and I've honestly been wanting to watch it.
So he captures one on, like, a rooftop in Gotham, and, like, figures out that, like, they track fear or something like that, like a detective would. In the Snyder Cut, he just finds out by reading Lex Luthor's journals.
Which, I mean, I feel like that is more detective-y than capturing something, because he already had the fucking journals. But so like, he would have had read them.
He tracked them. So, but, like, the whole idea is, like, he tracked them down, he figured it out, like, he figured out what they were tracking people with, like he actually got there and did something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he is going to be Batman. He's apparently going to have a substantial part in the Flash movie, too. At least one thing he's doing is he is going to be making the Flash's new costume.
Okay.
And apparently those two characters there's going to be an emotional story between them because they both have similar rounds. Like, both of their mothers were killed.
Yeah.
So, it's more Martha, but the Flash's mom's name isn't Martha.
Yeah.
But I mean, and this is on top of finding out that Michael Keaton is also going to reprise his role as Batman in the movie.
I wonder if Michael Keaton is going to be Thomas Wayne.
So, I forget the actual name of the Flash movie. Oh, it's Flashpoint still, right?
It's, as far as I remember, it's still Flashpoint.
So, it's supposed to be setting up the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
So, while that would be cool, I have a feeling that they're not really going to do the Flashpoint story at all. Kind of the way that the Flash TV series didn't really do the story at all. And they're just going to have an alternate universe Batman.
Well, they did do a Flashpoint. They were limited to what they could use because they didn't have the availability to use like Batman and Superman and stuff like that at the time.
Even then, like, that world was not completely fucked the way the Flashpoint world was. Like, in the comic book storyline, like, that whole world was fucked.
Yeah, like, I've seen the Flashpoint movie. I know how fucked it was, but I feel like we only got one, maybe 2 episodes in that alternate reality that, like, I feel like we didn't really get the full scope, and a lot of that would be, I feel like, because they can't use any of the big superheroes. They can't use Batman, Superman. I don't think they can use Wonder Woman and Aquaman. And Wonder Woman
probably can't. Warner Brothers is weird with that.
And Wonder Woman and Aquaman play a huge role in the Flashpoint alternate universe. Because they're fighting each other. So, like, they had to dumb it down as much, or not dumb it down, but I guess dumb it down to quite a bit in order to have it on the TV series itself because of what they had.
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect them to use Michael Keaton as Thomas Wayne. Like, and I think that the reports were already that he is reprising his role from 89 and Returns.
I think so. I don't fully remember. It was more of like a...
It was like a month or 2 ago that was finally broken. It'd be cool if they tried to make him, like, if they tried to, like, work it out that way.
Yeah. I think I even read that Grant Gustin's going to be in it as well. For a brief, like, cameo or something.
That might just be a rumor, because I have not seen that anywhere. I did see that apparently they are going to try and open up the TV show and movies to be a little more connected than they are. Like, not the way, like, the MCU was for those first, like, couple of years, but more just, like, kind of like what we got during Crisis.
Yeah.
Where, like, they're just going to acknowledge the existence of each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually really excited to see Affleck come back. And apparently, like, in the little, one of the articles I read about it, it sounds like at the time that he stepped away from being Batman, like, he was just going through a lot of shit. Like, cause I think that was right around the time that he got divorced.
Yeah.
And he's apparently just in a better space now, and basically agreed to the movie almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, it was within days of getting the offer that he's like, no, yeah, I'll totally do it.
I'm sure, like, yeah, he was getting divorced. People were giving him flack because the movies weren't that great. He was just like, alright, I'm over it and I'm done. And, like, now that, like, Snyder's getting his own cut, I'm sure he's like, alright, maybe there's a little more breadth to this thing that, like, it might be worth doing again.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because, like, the Snyder universe that it has been set up is not the one for a Ben Affleck Batman.
No.
Because, like, they showed, like, he can totally do the dark, brooding, like, angry dude fine. Like, he was very good with that portion of Batman. But, like, Ben Affleck is a very charming guy.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't let him also be Bruce Wayne, you're kind of just, like, cutting that character off at the knees.
Yeah.
Because, like, even Christian Bale, like, he didn't get a lot of time as Batman, or as Bruce Wayne, but you got to see him as, like, Bruce Wayne with just Alfred, where he was basically Batman. But then you also got to see him as Bruce Wayne with, like, people out in the world, where, like, he played up the, like, I'm just gonna drink a whole lot and party with models, because I want people to think that I'm just a useless fucking rich boy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's happening. If the Flash movie ever happens, anyway. Like, that thing's been delayed and dropped directors and writers so many times, who fucking know?
Yeah.
Apparently, so I didn't see this part, but there was a Flash panel at FanDome, and apparently, Ezra Miller, who is the Flash, and I think it was the director whose name escapes me at the moment, we're both, like, super excited to talk about the movie. So, that's always a good sign.
That's good to hear, because I think it was, like, feuds between them two that also caused issues with the movie, and Ezra Miller...
was the previous director.
I know Ezra Miller almost left.
Yeah, because they kept... There kept being, like, arguments between like what the script was and who the director and
Yeah.
I think they went through a couple directors and at least one set of writers.
Yeah, it's been through pre-production hell. Or just production hell in general.
Yeah, exactly. Now this stuff isn't in order of how it was shown at FanDome.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a little Shazam 2 section.
Oh, yeah?
We found out that it's going to be called Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Nice.
Which, did you ever see Shazam?
No, I never got around to it. I think it's on Hulu or something. I think I can watch it.
It might, if it's not on Hulu, it might be on HBO Max since it's a DC title.
It might be on Hulu through HBO Max. So, like, I might have to watch it on HBO Max because my Hulu and HBO aren't connected.
Yeah, because you have to actually pay for HBO through Hulu to do that.
Yeah.
But it was a fun little panel. Zachary Levi was on there, the director was on there, and then some of the other cast was on there. So both like the kids version of them and some of the adult versions.
Yeah.
But also fucking Sinbad showed up.
He's reprising his role?
Exactly. So like he leaned into it. Like, so honestly not sure if he's really in it or if this was just like an elaborate joke. But like Sinbad got on the Zoom call and he's like, yeah, you know, people keep thinking I was in Shazam and Kazam and all this stuff. So like now I'm in Shazam and I'm going to be in Kazam too. And I'm just going to be everywhere.
Nice. I can't believe he's reprising his role as Shazam.
Well, no, he's not going to just going to simply be in Shazam.
No, he has to. He's the previous Shazam, is what it is.
No, that was the old guy.
Well, I mean, he's going to play the old guy before the old guy. It's going to be a like history lesson. He's going to play Shazam before Shazam became Shazam to keep Shazam the Shazam.
Who knows? But honestly, like that first Shazam was really good.
Yeah.
So like I have hopes for this one too. They at some point, I think it was before this, they showed some Wonder Woman stuff. They did the trailer. It looks good. All the fights are too CG though.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell none of them are like practical fights, and that's most DC movies, unfortunately.
Yeah, like that. Like it worked. The CG fights worked in Aquaman because it was in fucking water, and like they had a lot of practical fights. At least, or when they were on land, the fights weren't very CG and they were very practical. But like I got that when I saw Wonder Woman 1. It was just like this is like too out there.
Yeah,
too fake. That like I really liked Wonder Woman, but I'm like I just hoped they could like pull away from that.
And they didn't. They're leaning into it more, especially because your villain is basically all CG. So, and it looks like Kristen Wiig, it will transform at some point in the movie, because in the trailer they show her as just Barbara Ann, like the woman.
Yeah.
And then near the end of the trailer, you see her actually fighting Wonder Woman as Cheetah.
So it's not like, you know, DC and WB, they have Emmy winning movie called the Suicide Squad that won because of hair and makeup. Why couldn't they have done good fucking hair and makeup in this and not do all CG?
Well, did you see the movie Cats? Or like not even see it, but like know about it?
Yeah, I know about it.
So that's basically what Cheetah is. She looks just like the cats.
Well, yeah.
Like, that would have been a nightmare for practical effects. And it would have looked really bad.
But it's probably gonna look just as bad.
Oh no, 100% it is. But it would look worse as practical. I don't have any doubt in my mind. And it's a shame because Cheetah is like the big.
Yeah,
like,
she's one of the main villains for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about Wonder Woman, but like Cheetah is a very well-known villain for her.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's unfortunate. It really is.
Yeah. After that, they did a Black Adam teaser, which wasn't really a teaser. It was a motion comic, which looked really cool. While The Rock did voiceover, so it was basically like him telling the story of himself. Like he was talking about himself as Black Adam. So like kind of like how that character came to be, what his like background was, sort of thing.
Who is Black Adam the villain to?
Shazam.
Okay.
So they basically both have the same power.
So do you think are they dropping Black Adam first and then having Shazam and have the two fight?
So I know Black Adam was originally supposed to be the villain in Shazam, like the first one, I think.
Yeah.
But you can't like the Rock signed onto it. Like he is too big of a name to just be the villain of a movie.
Yeah.
So instead, like he is going to it looks like they're kind of like angling him more as like an anti-hero than a villain. Whereas like historically he's much more of a villain.
Yeah.
There are times where he kind of like straddles that line, but like. Yeah, and like he is from like another like the country that he like lives in is called Kandak, I believe. I think it's supposed to be like in the Middle East. And he is, thousands of years old and stuff like that, and has the same sort of magic power as Shazam. But like he was like a slave, and then like got these powers and like broke the slavery in his country, sort of stuff. So like he's almost like Doctor Doom, whereas like Doctor Doom is kind of a hero to his country, Latveria.
Yeah.
But, like, he is also just a monster of a villain.
Yeah.
So,
I was kind of hoping they would use him as sort of a Thanos for the lesser known. So, like, Shazam is one of the lesser known heroes for the common person. And, like, maybe they could have done that with, like, the Teen Titans. And have Shazam part of the Teen Titans and, like, they all form together and they fight Black Adam or something like that.
Yeah, I think that the problem there is, like, Shazam is too powerful for a Teen Titan. Like, Shazam in the comics not regularly, but like takes down Superman. Because Superman's biggest weakness after kryptonite is magic.
Yeah.
And Shazam is magic, so is Black Adam.
Yeah.
But at some point they are supposed to tie Black Adam and Shazam together. So like they probably will fight eventually. The Black Adam movie though is also going to introduce the Justice Society of America.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get a Hawkman, a Dr. Fate, an Atom Smasher, and a Cyclone.
Sweet.
Those are at least the 4 that have been revealed. Hopefully they do better job with Hawkman than they did in Legends of Tomorrow.
I think I might only know 2 of them. Hawkman and Atom Smasher, maybe? Oh no, Cyclone was the robot from Supergirl, right?
You're thinking of
Red
Tornado.
Red Twister or something like that. Maybe I know Atom Smasher? I don't know.
Dr. Fate is super powerful, so I'm not sure if he'll be the same level of power in this movie, but he's also magic-based, so that's a good thing up against Black Adam.
Apparently, there was an Atom Smasher in the Flash show, but I think he was a villain.
That's possible. That is definitely possible.
Yeah.
So they showed it was basically a roll call for the Suicide Squad movie, the James Gunn movie.
I saw that.
Which had way too many people in it.
There's way too many. It's way too big of a cast.
And, like, honestly, it's one of those... So the only 4 characters that seem to be returning are Amanda Waller, Rick Flag, Harley, and Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
Everyone else was new. There were names like Nathan Fillion and Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, who's in most of the stuff he does.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba. But, like, it's a lot of just, like, yeah, we used, like, the names you recognize in the last movie, so we're just gonna grab a bunch of, like, no-name villains and throw them in this one.
Yeah, we used the names you know in the last movie, and we can't really use them now because most of them died. But in this movie, we'll use the names you know in real life to cast this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest name that wasn't one of the first 4 would be King Shark.
Yeah, I saw King Shark. I was excited about that.
Which, like, this is the year of King Shark, apparently, because he is in the Suicide... Well, not necessarily this year, but... So he's in the Harley Quinn show, and apparently is awesome in that. He's in the Suicide Squad movie, and he's in the Rocksteady Suicide Squad game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie... I hope that movie's good, but it seems like it's going to have too many characters. Unless they do one of those, like... The movie opens up, and, like, 15 of those characters just get fucking murdered up front.
It's gonna be, like, some of the bigger names, like... Nathan Fillion and Idris Elba, they're gonna be, like, quick cameo things.
I don't know, I could see Idris Elba actually being in it.
I mean, I could see them both actually being in it, but I can also see WB being cheap and not wanting to pay them what they want, what they deserve.
But, you know, so I mean, they need somebody with, like, the name power that Will Smith had, because they don't have that now. Like, Margot Robbie is the next biggest name, and, like, luckily, like, her name is actually pretty big now because she's done some, like, it's not just Suicide Squad that she's known for now. She did, like, that Tanya Harding movie and, like, some other, like, critically acclaimed stuff. But, like, Will Smith's, like, a megastar. the next closest thing you have to that is Idris Elba. Like that's cast in this movie.
Yeah, in this movie, but I also feel like you're not giving the name Harley Quinn enough push. Like, there was a Harley Quinn movie, and I think people saw it, and it wasn't that good. Like,
but that's the thing. People saw it, and it wasn't that good. Like, it was fine. But, like, at this point, people didn't like the last Suicide Squad movie that much. They didn't really like this Harley Quinn movie that much. She is not going to, like, that character is not going to sell a third movie.
Yeah, I feel like, yes and no. I feel like the combination of Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, and then having, James Gunn be the director who did the Guardians movies, I feel like that's what maybe they're going to be pushing to.
So James Gunn's name is only going to resonate with nerds that follow these movies. It's not so much the everyday person that might just want to go see the movie. Whereas, like, if you see a movie where it's like, oh, a Margot Robbie's in it, and Idris Elba's in it, and a couple other, like, recognizable names, it's like, oh, this one has, like, stars in it.
Yeah, and that's why they got the Idris Elba, that's why they got the Nathan Fillion, is because it's like, alright, we can put their names on there, but they're gonna get one line, they're gonna be on for 10 minutes, and we're taking them off.
See, I think Idris Elba is actually gonna be in it. Like, and even his character, I don't know what his character, but, like, even his character design looked kind of like Deadshot. Like, yeah. I have a feeling like they're basically using him to replace Deadshot, because Will Smith didn't want to do another one. Which is a shame, because he was actually a really good Deadshot.
Yeah, he was a great Deadshot.
So yeah, that was Suicide Squad movie. So I'm actually excited for this one. Batman: The Long Halloween, which is a comic. It's going to be getting an animated movie treatment, kind of the way like Year One or Dark Knight Returns did.
Yeah.
So it's going to come next year. It's going to be 2 parts. So part 1 will be next summer, and part 2 will be next fall. It basically tells like it's. If I remember correctly, because there's a sequel to it, I don't want to get them confused. It's kind of like the story of Two-Face from like the early years of Batman. So it's like a retelling of that, and it follows like the Year One continuity for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's over the course of a year, if I remember correctly. So like every chapter is like another month sort of deal.
Yeah.
And then it's followed. There's a direct sequel to it called Dark Victory that like finishes the story, but. It's probably one of the best sort of like Batman like standalone graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
And it was done by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, who do all sorts of really good stuff together. Jeff Loeb was the head of Marvel TV for like the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
In case you recognize that name. So I'm super excited to see that get animated. I also haven't read that book in a long time, so it'll be cool to see it as a movie.
Yeah. Sorry, I googled the roll call for everyone who's going to be in Suicide Squad, and I'm looking at I was going through the character posters, and yeah, Idris Elba is playing Bloodsport. Then
sounds like Deadshot to me.
A few names John Cena.
Oh, that's right, John Cena is in it, but no one can see him, right?
I mean, people can. People probably can't see the piece he's going to be making because he's Peacemaker. See what it did there? But I think that's a name that's gonna pull people. Pete Davidson's a name that's gonna pull people. It's not gonna pull me, but it's Pete Davidson.
I don't know who that is.
He's a comedian. He was on SNL. I don't find him funny, and I find him absolutely annoying, but that is going to pull people.
Also, I don't know that John Cena pulls in movie people.
John Cena's a good actor.
He's not a bad actor. I'm not saying that. But he's also not like a great actor. Like, he's fine. He does comedy better, I think, than anything else.
Yeah.
But, I don't know that, John Cena is, a name that people go, oh, shit, the new John Cena movie's coming out.
Yeah. Michael Rooker's in it. That potentially...
Oh, right, I forgot he was in it.
He plays, Savant.
Yeah, he's another one where, his name isn't, the name that will draw, the, random person. But, he's the person that you see in the movie, you're like, oh, I love him. Yeah. He's in things.
And the person I'm most excited for, Peter Capaldi as Thinker.
I forgot he was going to be in that, too.
Yeah. And I feel like he's going to be the villain.
I mean, the Thinker is a villain, so...
Well, I mean, they're all villains.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't know that the Thinker has ever been Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so I feel like he's going to be the big bad, because he's such... the Flash just had him, and it was such a good season with the Thinker and Flash, that I feel like he's going to be such a good, counterpart to all these fucking characters.
Wow. So this is completely unrelated, but I just got this little like Twitter update. Super Mario Sunshine is as old now as the original Super Mario Brothers was when Sunshine came out.
Damn.
And then on top of that, the PS3 is now as retro as the SNES was when the PS3 launched.
Wow. I'm more shocked about the PS3 because we're just about to get the PS5.
Yeah, so you figure that the SNES came out in 90 and the PS3 came out in 2006, I believe.
Yeah.
So 16 years.
It's insane.
So, and I think actually the SNES came out earlier in Japan.
Yeah.
So like those dates actually probably line up better.
Yeah, I'm sure it
They're
does.
probably both 15, 16 years, something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel old. That's how I feel about it.
It's also weird because like honestly like 1990 felt like so much longer ago from like 2005 than 2005 feels from now.
Oh, every time I think about 10 years ago, I still always have to remember that 10 years ago was 2010 and not 1995.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah. Time, man. Time.
So we got the most Zack Snyder trailer that we could for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. It was a version of Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I believe it was actually the Leonard Cohen version, like the original. It showed scenes from the Justice League. Some of them were not most of them were not in the original cut of the Justice League.
Yeah.
We also found out that it's going to be 4 hours long.
Not bad.
So it's going to be released on HBO Max as 4 1-hour episodes, and then once all 4 episodes have come out, they're going to bundle it together as one 4-hour movie.
You know what? I think I can sit through 4 1-hour sessions for this.
Yeah, I think so.
I honestly didn't hate the Justice League movie.
So remember, all humor that was in the Justice League is gone.
Yeah, I know. But, like, what I was saying was, like, it had its flaws, and I admit that, but I it had some redeeming qualities, and I didn't hate it and think it was the shittiest movie in the world. But I was fine with it.
Yeah, I'm interested in it.
Yeah, watching that for 3 hours was fine. But something that has none of that humor...
That movie wasn't 3 hours, was it?
I think it was close to it. I'm not sure. But, like, having to sit through 4 hours of dull, dry, no humor, I don't think I'd be able to do it. But 4 1-hour sittings...
It is only 2 hours.
Is it really?
It's 120 minutes exactly.
Wow, I thought it was longer.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I did not hate that movie. That was still not a good movie. And that was with them trying to lighten it up. They didn't do a good job of lightening up, but at least there was a little bit of levity to it.
Yeah.
All of that is gone. Like, it's Black Suit Superman. He's just going to be angry Superman the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested to see what this ends up being.
At least he won't have shitty CG over his mustache.
I mean, that's true. That's true. But, like, so apparently I didn't realize this. Remember the Russian family at the end that, like, the Flash was saving?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not part of it. Like, that was Whedon added. So, like, they're gone. So that never happens. So, like, that whole ending bit in Russia is just fight. Like, there's no real stakes to, like, the area, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's stakes to the world, but, like, they're not, like, they don't have to worry about, like, people.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be next year, so, but they did confirm no new footage. They're not filming anything. And apparently, so we know Darkseid is going to be shown in it. He's going to be shown early in the movie in like flashbacks, and apparently post them defeating Steppenwolf.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we're also probably going to get to see a Martian Manhunter.
Sweet.
Because one of the things that was talked about, I forget if it was actually at FanDome or if it was just something I read, that there are a few scenes throughout the movie from like Snyder's footage of Lois and Martha. Like while Clark is still presumed dead.
Yeah.
And one of those scenes, I think it's supposed to be like in Lois's apartment, and when Martha leaves, she turns into Martian Manhunter. So like it wasn't really Martha, it was Martian Manhunter like trying to get info.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently this cut's going to focus more on like the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, like the 3 characters that hadn't had their own movies when the movie was originally filmed.
Yeah.
To sort of like explain them a little bit better.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll see. next year. Sorry, I feel like I have to sneeze. So the next one, and the last like movie related thing, we got the first trailer for the Batman.
I was not expecting a Riddler.
I mean, I knew Riddler was going to be in it. I didn't realize he was apparently going to be like the big bad, or at least that's what they're kind of pegging it as for this trailer. It could be something totally different,
unless he's just it's like a multiple villain type of thing where it's like and I'm not talking like a Batman Forever where they team up, but like the movie, say it's 2 hours, and over the course of the 2 hours he stops multiple villains, maybe.
Well, I mean, they have cast like 5 villains for this movie.
Yeah.
Because like they have Riddler, Penguin. I want to say like they casted a Mr. Freeze, maybe. Catwoman, who like she walks the line with hero villain.
Yeah.
But like they've cast a bunch of like antagonists in it. But like this is a very dark Riddler too. Like it is not Jim Carrey's like riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Yeah.
Like, this motherfucker's wearing, like, a serial killer mask and fucking cutting up bodies and leaving blood notes.
I am wondering, though, where's the Neon Bandits? It's not a Batman movie unless the bandits are wearing neon.
Well, no, they had the face paint.
They had face paint, but they're not wearing neon. Where's my cyberpunk future, guys?
No, they're clowns with a Z.
I just want, like, you know what I'm referencing, right?
Yeah, but, like, clowns with a Z.
No. Are they supposed to be Jokers? Like, Joker's clan?
I'm assuming, I mean, not clan, but I'm assuming they're, like, people that sort of, like...
follow the Joker.
Yeah, or at least, like, if they're not his direct thugs, they're, like, the gang of... They're, like, the Jokers with a Z.
Yeah.
Like, the gangs, kind of from Batman Beyond, is really where the Jokers were more.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, they're the guys that sort of idolize him, and they commit crimes like he would, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks like it's going to be fucking dark, but like in the way Batman probably should be.
Yeah, appropriately dark.
Like it looks like it's going to be more like it looks like it might have more mystery to it.
Yeah.
And it's not so much a who done it because we know the Riddler done it presumably, but more of a like how did he do it? Where is he? Like finding him, sort of who done it.
Yeah.
And like I was not a huge fan of Pattinson's emo hair. But I have a feeling that was just, like, that scene in particular.
I feel like it was like he just took off his mask and his hair's all ruffled and whatever.
Well,
like,
so there was the one scene where he had obviously taken off the mask because he still had the black eyeshadow on. Which, speaking of that, this is, like, the first movie other than, like, the fucking CW shows where they actually show that they wear the black stuff underneath their mask.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you ever caught this, and I forgot about it until I saw it on Twitter. Batman Returns with Michael Keaton. Batman wears the fucking black eyeshadow.
Does he?
Like, all the time. Every movie, he has black eyeshadow. Because otherwise it looks fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because, like, the eye holes are bigger than his eyes. Do you remember Batman Returns at all?
I mean, barely. Like, it's been a while since I watched it.
Right. So, end of the movie, they're in the sewer. It's Batman, Catwoman, Penguin, and Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Catwoman, I think, is about to kill somebody, or maybe kill herself. I forget exactly the setup. But Batman decides to, reveal himself. So, in the first shot, he has the obvious black eyeshadow. It cuts back, no black eyeshadow. You just see his white skin through the hole, so that he could rip the mask off and not have the black eyeshadow on.
That's weird.
Yeah, like, it is so stupidly jarring. That you don't realize that as a child. But so, like, it's nice that they're just letting that be.
Yeah.
But I actually meant, so there's a scene where it looks, maybe it's a funeral or something like that, where, like, he's in, he's got, like, a suit, not a suit on, but, like, a button-up shirt and, like, a tie, and the tie's kind of loosened, and his hair's just, like, hanging in his face. But not in that, like, I just pulled off the cowl look.
Yeah.
Which is why I think, like, maybe something happened in that scene that he's just a little more disheveled than usual.
It's probably somebody important's funeral, or it might be raining or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there wasn't enough in that scene to, like, show it necessarily, but yeah. And then, I mean, the fight looked brutal. I just sent you a message with a link to the eyeshadows. It's not the scene, it's just two stills from the movie.
God, that's terrible.
Yeah, right?
That's so bad.
But, yeah, so the fight looked cool, though.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's like, who are you? And then he's a little fucking brutal. But, like, also I get it. Because I feel like that scene is after something has happened and he's just fucking angry.
Yeah.
But, like, breaking the arm, putting the guy down, like, that's one thing. I feel like those extra just, like, punches while the dude's already on the ground just felt like a bit much. Because, like, Batman usually isn't I'm going to give you permanent brain damage on purpose. It's more of a, like, if you get permanently damaged, it's your own fucking fault for fighting back.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he doesn't say, I am Batman. Like, he goes with, I am vengeance.
Yeah, which is, I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah, and, like, he doesn't have, like, an awful voice going on. Like, he's not doing the Christian Bale growl.
No, I thought the trailer was overall, like, well put together. It didn't reveal too much.
Yeah.
And it got me more excited for this movie, and its eventual, release onto, digital, because it's probably going to come out before I'm comfortable going back into movie theaters.
I mean, I don't think it's due out till late next year, so.
Yeah, probably going to come out before I'm comfortable going to movie theaters.
God, don't be a baby. Just wear a mask.
I'll wear a mask, but will
Look, wear 2 masks.
Again, I'll wear a mask, but will the 30 other people that are in that theater wear a mask?
How about this? Wear a mask and a helmet.
Like the front-facing face masks?
Yeah.
Like the clear ones?
Yeah, or like a motorcycle helmet. Like a full face, like, ain't nothing getting to you mask. Just like a full hazmat suit.
That's just, I mean, that's a potential idea.
But yeah, I am definitely interested. I was never not interested in the Batman, but, like, I'm definitely more on board than I was before.
Yeah.
Just because it's one of those, like, I didn't know what it was going to, like, what they were doing. They were announcing all these villains. Like, we hadn't seen what any of it looked like, but Batman, like, he looks good in the Batsuit. Like, he looks like Batman. The dude who's playing Gordon definitely has the right sort of, gravitas isn't the right word, but I can't think of a better word for it.
He's got
like, he feels like he should be,
yeah.
like, a commissioner.
He's got the presence.
Yeah, that's the right word. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's late next year. Like fall, winter of 2021.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Anyway, now that we got the movies out of the way, there was some game-related stuff that they showed off here, too. We mentioned one of them already. The first thing they showed off, though, was WB Montreal's new game, which is called Gotham Knights.
Nice.
And you didn't watch any of this, right?
No, like I said, I just forgot. Like, I ran out of time and forgot all at the same time.
Yeah. So, this is going to be a Bat family game. The trailer opens up telling us that Batman is dead.
Mm-hmm.
This is not connected to the Arkham games at all. So this isn't like the end of Arkham Knight, sort of like uncertainty about whether he's dead or not. It plays a video of him like in the Batcave with his helmet off, basically saying like, if you're seeing this, it means I'm gone. I did this because I knew that you would be able to like take over or what have you. And like the Batcave has been destroyed, like all that stuff. So you're going to be able to play as Nightwing. So Dick Grayson Nightwing, Tim Drake Robin, Barbara Gordon Batgirl, and Jason Todd Red Hood.
Okay.
So all 4 of them have a different play style. They all have like a different melee weapon essentially. So like Jason Todd as Red Hood has guns. Like he'll also punch and kick and stuff, but you can just shoot people.
Yeah.
Tim Drake's Robin has a quarterstaff. Nightwing has
the batons, right?
Yeah, a Skrizma, I think is a Skrizma sticks or something like that.
Yeah.
Like the 2 like short like clubs basically. And then Batgirl has like 2 like police batons.
Yeah.
They have another name and I can't think of what they're called. But like you know what I'm talking about, like it's the straight with like the handle that comes off with like a little bit of it is still like past the handle.
Yeah.
And then like they all have like some different abilities. They all have a different like sort of play style so that they're supposed to feel different. It's going to have 2-player co-op that you can actually drop in and drop out of. So, like, if we were both playing and you dropped into my game, I wouldn't have to, like, start over or you, like, none of that. Like, if I'm playing and you want to play with me, you would just drop in, play with me for a while, and then when you're done, I would just keep going.
Yeah.
Court of Owls are going to be the villain, or at least one of the villains. They showed a Talon in it, which people are speculating maybe the Talon is actually Batman, because Batman's not dead. Come on.
No, he's not dead.
But I think Batman as the Talon reveal would actually be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the Talons in the comics were not zombies but undead. They had something done to them so that like they could basically live forever through like hibernation.
Yeah.
But they were also basically immortal. Like you could shoot them, stab them, and stuff like that, and they just kept going.
Yeah.
I believe in the comics the only way to stop them was to actually freeze them, because that's how they were put in the cryostasis when they weren't like being tasked with murdering people.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like they could still do a twist on that and have like Batman was brainwashed and created as a Talon.
Yeah, I'm sure they could definitely figure something out. That's probably already what they're doing, and people figured it out right away because nerds are smarter than companies think they are sometimes.
Yeah, and I don't think knowing that ahead of time, like, or I don't think speculating on that ahead of time would ruin it for anybody either, because it'll still be a surprise if it happens.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have like some RPG elements, like you'll be able to level up your characters, and like the enemies will level up with them. I believe there was some skills tree stuff in there, like for abilities and all.
Yeah.
It's got a little too much of like a point thing going on, where like when you're attacking, the damage is popping off the enemies, which feels a little weird for that sort of game.
What do you mean? Like when you hit them, you see the number come off them?
Yeah. Kind of like in like Destiny or like a lot of shooters.
Yeah.
So this and actually Suicide Squad both give me a live service feel. Like just the way that they were showing it off and all, I feel like there's going to be a lot of that whole like games as a service push with them.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's WB. Like absolutely. They're going to find ways to pull as much money as they can from this.
Which is a bummer, because it's one of those, if it was just like cosmetics, fine. Like if you could just go into like a store and like buy a different looking bat suit or whatever, like cool. Like all of those characters have a bunch of different looks that you could potentially get for them. But if they push it as like a live services game, like the upcoming Avengers or Destiny or what Halo is going to be, like that kind of turns me off to it. But at the same time, like I don't know, like they didn't really reveal what the actual game is going to be.
Destiny doesn't. It's just you pay for emotes and cosmetics.
No, and so I'm not talking about like the microtransactions. I'm talking about if the game is pushed as more of a as a live service game where they want you playing online to like complete challenges or whatnot. That's what sort of would turn me off. If you don't have to take, just like Destiny, like you don't have to ever buy an emote. Like, that stuff is, it's if you want to. It's like, same thing with, like, the shaders and all. Like, it's if you want to.
See, and that's the thing. Like, games are going to be going more and more in that route. Because it makes more money. You don't have to do as much, and you make more money because people love cosmetics. So, a lot of games coming out, especially games that have, like, for instance, both Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights, multiple playable characters, it's going to become more of a service type thing where like you can continue to play after you beat the game, and maybe this stuff will be free, but maybe the game content will be free, but you have to pay for the emotes and cosmetics because people are going to want to pay for that.
Yeah, and again, I don't care about cosmetics. That's fine. Put as many cosmetics into a game as you want. Like that does not bother me at all. It's I don't want a game where it sort of like corrals you into a position where the only way to really like get the full experience is to play play online.
Yeah, I mean
that's all. That's the only thing. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, but like all I'm saying is, unfortunately, a lot of games are probably going to go that route from here on out. And the games that aren't going to go that route are going to generally be games that you don't like the Skyrim or like the Elder Scrolls or the Fallouts and shit like that.
I mean, Sony first-party games are probably going to keep being what they are because they sell millions and millions of copies.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I like those first-party games. Same thing with like Nintendo games. Like Nintendo doesn't have an online infrastructure to support that sort of like a live service game anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like both of these games gave me a very like there's going to be something live servicey about these beyond microtransactions that just might kind of not be cool. And I could be wrong. So Gotham Knights is coming out next year. We don't know exactly when. It's going to be current gen and next gen though. And like they showed 7 minutes of gameplay. it looks like Batman gameplay, but it also looks a little, I don't know, some of the sort of like, and it might just be the way the video was cut. Some of the stuff just looked a little weird, like what some of the characters can do. Same thing can be said for Suicide Squad. Like, they took liberties, I think, with like giving people special abilities. I guess just to vary their playstyle a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I am interested to at least see more of what it is.
Yeah, I want to check it out. I'm kind of mad at myself for not having checked out either of these last two things.
Yeah, and so while I'm interested in seeing more of Gotham Knight. Like, if it's not a games as a service and it's just like microtransactions, I will 100% be playing it. I did not like the Suicide Squad trailer at all.
No.
It wasn't a very good trailer for one. So this game is apparently part of the Arkham universe.
Okay.
So it's following up past Arkham Knight. This is Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is the name of the game. It's the Rocksteady game. So the biggest thing people immediately called it on, and I remember this too, Deadshot is in this game.
Yeah.
Deadshot is in the Arkham games. He's in Arkham City and Arkham Knight, I believe, and Origins, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
He is the classic comic book white as a ghost, Floyd Lawton. Deadshot in this game is a black dude.
Yeah.
Also Floyd Lawton.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, like, that's what people know him as now. If you see the comic, if you see the movies, like, you see Will Smith. Like, so it's...
So he doesn't look like Will Smith, though, either. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
And, like, to be fair, like, he honestly seemed a little more interesting than the other characters in the trailer. Mm-hmm. I don't like the way Harley or Captain Boomerang look, because they're also both in it. Like, Harley has this weird sort of, like, her face looks like, and honestly, Captain Boomerang's a little bit like this, too. Have you ever seen those, like, artist renderings of, like, what, like, a cartoon character would look like if they were real?
Yeah.
And, like, their proportions are, especially, like, the Simpsons ones, where, like, this is what Homer Simpson would look like if he was a real person. And, like, the proportions on his face are all weird and bulgy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I got for both, Captain Boomerang and Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they tried to take what they look like in, like, the animation of, like, the games and everything like that, and the comics, and also take what the actors that play them look like, and make those two things work, and they just fucking don't.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even quite Uncanny Valley, it just looks weird. And I believe Harley's voice actress is still Tara Strong, but, like, the way she's doing the voice in this trailer, it's, like, so high-pitched and grainy and annoying, like, it drove me crazy every time she did.
Yeah.
And if it's not Tara Strong, like, good for her, because that she sounded awful. It does have a very, like, Sunset Overdrive vibe to it. Like, so the setup is Brainiac has taken over at least Metropolis, including Superman. Like, the end of the trailer, Superman blows up a helicopter, and they think that he's there to, like, help, and then he kills the pilot that he's holding. And then they realize that, like, the person they were sent to take out is Superman.
Okay.
And they're all just kind of like, oh, shit. So, it just, the whole trailer, like, there was no real gameplay in it or anything like that. At one point, they kind of all jump off the roof and fight a bunch of, like, Brainiac robot minion things. Mm-hmm. And then they all go back to the roof they were on. But it's like, Captain Boomerang kept teleporting. Like, it was fucking weird. King Shark is in this too, and he seemed cool. He might be the best character in there. Like, maybe.
Yeah.
But, yeah, something about that game it didn't look good to me. And, like, that was without seeing any actual gameplay. Like, the whole thing kind of just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, well, I mean, those games have been not doing great. I mean, I know you said the last one was okay, or a little bit better than everyone else said.
I really liked Arkham Knight. It was just, the Batmobile was the worst part, and there were two bad things about Arkham Knight. The Batmobile missions where you had to do these stupid tank fucking shooting things, and getting the true ending. Because to get the true ending, you had to find all, like, 300 Joker Riddler trophies.
Yeah, but I mean, that was in, like, every one of them. You had to get all the Riddler.
But you didn't have to get them to get the true ending of the game.
Yeah,
the only way to get the true ending of this game was to find all of them.
That's nuts. Usually, they usually weren't that hard to find, though.
No, like, it's not so much that they were hard to find, it was that there were too many of them. Like, they weren't fun to find.
Yeah.
So, to have to go find over 100 of these things sucked.
Yeah,
like,
at least it isn't 900 Korok seeds that you get shiny gold poop.
But I mean, that's basically what they did. It's like, here, go find all these things that aren't fun to find, just to see how the game's actually supposed to end.
Yeah.
Like, I just looked it up on YouTube after I finished the story, because I didn't want to do those.
Yeah, I always hate that. Like, oh, that's not the true ending. There's at least 5 more minutes. Alright, I'm just gonna YouTube it. I did that with every single one of the Kingdom Hearts games I've beaten so far, is I'll beat it just once through, like, on my replaythroughs, not my original playthroughs, on my replaythroughs. Beat it once through and then Google the full ending. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like when games have the whole, like, oh, well, you have to 100% this to really find out how it ends.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not okay. Like, there are some people that literally can't do that.
Cause, like, there was, what was it? It was, Final Fantasy X-2. Eric had the strategy guide. And, like, you had to do so much in each chapter in order to 100% it. And one thing you had to do was fall asleep on the airship. If you fall asleep on the airship in every chapter, when you wake up, some guy's there to talk to you. He missed it in one of the chapters. And it was the last chapter.
Yeah, see, that sucks.
And it's just, like, there was he didn't have, like, a save before that or anything. So he was meticulous and did everything. And I think 10-2 might have been one of those games where, like, the strategy guide had, like, the stickers to put onto things because he had to, because of collectibles. And, like, he wasn't able to go back and do it because he already had used the stickers for the collectible. It was just...
Oh, yeah, that sucks a lot.
It was ridiculous. And it's, like, it sucks. Like, if you miss falling asleep on the fucking airship, you missed the 100% ending. Well, fuck you.
Yeah, that's just super shitty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, like, I don't know. It's not due out till 2022, so that'll be 7 years from Arkham Knight. It's going to be next gen only. It is going to support 4-player multiplayer.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the other game that has 4 players only supports 2-player.
Yeah.
And it looks like you can swap at, like, NPCs as you're playing, which was like, that was like one of the things I was kind of complaining about Avengers. Like, you have a second character with you that you can't control.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted to swap to them for some reason, you can't. This game, it looks like you're allowed to. So, like, if you're playing as Harley, you can, like, hit a button and switch over to King Shark for whatever reason. Which
kind of pushes me more towards it's not going to be a service game, like you were saying. Because, like, if you can swap your character throughout the level, all of your characters have to be equally powered up. So, like, it makes...
So it sounds like the characters are always going to be with you. Like, the missions aren't going to be, like, one person at a time.
Yeah.
So it might just be that, like, when the mission completes, like, you just get a pool of experience to all of the characters. I also don't know for sure that the Suicide Squad has, leveling.
If it's... Because it goes off the Arkham games, right?
Yeah.
And it is... Is it being... Rocksteady made all of them, right? Or they just made...
All of them but Origin.
But Origins. They had an upgrade system.
They did.
It wasn't a level system, it was an upgrade system, so I don't know how they're... Because there's multiple characters you can use, if it's gonna be like each character gets the points or whatever, or you have to play as the one for so long to get the points, who knows?
I feel like it might just be, like, I'm just assuming this, but it would make sense to just be, you get points to use on all of the characters, which, like, plenty of games do.
Yeah.
Particularly because you can do 4-player multiplayer. So, if you jump into my game, assuming it's, like, that sort of multiplayer where you can, like, jump in the middle of a game, and you've never played it before, like, that would be shitty if, like, you're suddenly in, you know, my late game playthrough with a character that's only level 1, or, like, whatever the equivalent would be.
Yeah.
But, especially if, like, I'm running around with 4 characters that are all, you know, already beefed up to an extent.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, look, we've got 2 years before we'll see that game, so
it's probably
plenty could change.
Probably more like 4, but yeah.
And like I said, there was no gameplay in that trailer.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
That was FanDome though. Aside from like sort of like complaining about the 2 games, like Gotham Knights looked cool at least, and like all the movie stuff actually looked good.
Yeah.
Like I'm interested in seeing more movies.
Yeah, I'm interested in most of the stuff that they showed on there. And I do want to look into the 2 games.
Yeah, it's definitely... Watching the trailers for them and checking out, like, the 7 minutes of gameplay is definitely worthwhile.
Yeah.
But so, you finally... You mentioned this earlier, but you finally finished Paper Mario the Origami King.
Yes, I I ended up not really doing much this weekend, except for one thing that I'll talk about later. So yesterday after work, I was like, I need to beat something. I need to play something, and you know what? Paper Mario.
You just fucking set yourself up for something.
What do you mean?
Do you not remember what you just said?
I do remember what I said. I just want to see if you're going to say it.
No, I'm not stupid.
Anyway, I was like, I need to play something. I haven't really done much. I know I'm near the end of Paper Mario. Let me just do it. So, like, at 6 o'clock, or at 5 o'clock, I sit down and I'm like, alright, I'm not going to stop until it's done. And I think it took me, I was like 5 hours behind, or 5 hours from the ending. So I played for five straight hours. Not bad. And I forgot how fun that game was, because I haven't played it in like a week or two. It's such a fun, silly game, and I love it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of screenshots. Like, I saw you post one, and I've seen some other people post stuff too, that, like, the humor is very well done.
Yeah, like, there was one point where you're in Peach's castle, it's at the end, and you can go wandering around and check the doors. And you go to one door, and you go to open it, and it's locked. And Bowser's following around with you, and he's like, they couldn't just patch it in? Come on, guys. Or, like, they couldn't, no, it was like, you can't even finish the castle? Just patch it in already, please. I was like, I love that shit. And, like, the whole, like, the aesthetic is just so nice. The whole end sequence was pretty cool. The final boss fights, like, the one thing that drives me nuts about some games is incorporating unique boss fights that aren't very layman. For instance, in order to get to Bowser's castle, you needed to go find the quote rainbow spring. To do that, you needed to actually like go into an area. Luckily, there was a save point right there, and when you walk in there, you have to play a game show, and you have multiple chances to do it, but you have to get 100 points, and if you don't get 100 points, you lose. And it's like some of the things you had to do are really difficult. I'm like, I don't like where, like, if I like one of them was, Goombas would go on into a tub, and then some would come out, and you had to keep track of the Goombas that were in the tub at all times, and the hardest one has a cloud over it, so you can't actually count how many Goombas are in there. And so, once you get through that, it then brings you onto the stage where you have to set up a math equation to show the number of Goombas that were in the tub. I'm like, this is what? And I sat there for
that seems like a lot.
And the hardest one, which would have gotten me 50 points, I couldn't do. I couldn't keep track of how many Goombas went in there, and I couldn't figure out the math equation because I thought I couldn't figure out how to get 22 to show up because I was wrong, and I couldn't figure out the right number. I wasn't sure of the right number. So, like, it's stuff like that. The final boss fight, was too simple. And then it expanded into additional parts of the fight, but they weren't, like, the normal battle system that you would have of a boss fight in this game. And so, like, I kinda, like, throws me off, like, why are you gonna do this on the final fight? Like,
because why not?
Like, it was cool, and one part was fun, or they were both kinda fun, but at the same time, like, it's very hectic. Cause, like, the one point, they turn Bowser really big, and he's fighting, it's basically a kaiju battle with Bowser versus the villain, and you have to go run to get to these points and slam your hands on the floor. And it's like, this is not a normal boss fight, and this is just a weird thing that you're incorporating. And then after that part ends, you can set up this, like, a special circle gets set up, and you have to puzzle together to make the circle look the way it's supposed to look. But, like, they mess it all up, and if you're not really good at figuring out the puzzles, because it's not simple, because you have to move things left and right and circle them, if you screw up even once, you might, like, throw yourself completely off. So I'm like, this is, like, hectic, because I might lose this boss fight because I couldn't figure out this puzzle. Whereas, like, why am I not just having a boss fight?
Yeah, that does kind of suck.
One of the really cool things, though, was a boss fight. It was the, I guess you would say the second to last boss fight. It was, so, I don't know if you know, but all the bosses, like, all, like, the, like, kind of main bosses were, like, art and arts and craft supplies. So, like, the first boss was colored pencils. Then another boss...
That's actually kind of funny.
Another boss was, like, a rubber band man. And then I think, like, a tape dispenser. The final boss was a pair of scissors. And he comes out and he's all cocky. He's like, I'm this boss, I'm the new boss, and I'm a pair of scissors, and you're gonna have to fight me, and you're not gonna be able to, because I'm the best. And so what he does is he's like, I'm gonna give you a little help. And he puts a cover over the blades of the scissors. And the game, like, tells you, like, you can, as you're doing the little puzzle to fight, get to a point to actually attack him, you can pick up, notes to show you how to fight him, or to give you tips on how to fight him. And the tip is, do not break the cover. If you break the cover, this fight will be really, really hard.
Oh, well, at least they warn you.
Yeah, so, the first thing I do is break the cover. And then, while you're fighting an enemy, if you time your A press at the right time, he guards and doesn't take as much damage. Well, because it's a pair of scissors and you're a piece of fucking paper, you have to time your A press to jump over him. Otherwise, he's gonna cut you in half and kill you in one hit.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I made it through most of the fight, and he had, like, maybe 1 or 2 hits left. And I missed the A jump, and he cuts me in half. I'm like, fuck! And then I had a 1-up mushroom, so it brought me back to life. But then that was the most stressed I'd ever been, because if he had 1 more hit left, and if I failed the jump, I was gonna have to do the entire fight all over again.
That would have sucked.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's such a cool game. Again, the aesthetic is just so, like, the scenery and the set pieces they put together are just, they look so cool, and it looks so nice, and, like, the little nods they throw to, like, this is like a paper or a crafted world and not really like a normal game. Like, it's just really cool. One of the things, I'd mentioned this back when I first started talking about it, that there was a scene that really, like, was a bummer, and I wasn't expecting it. A character that you have dies. He sacrifices himself to die. He's a Bam-Am. And so you find out that when a Bam-Am blows up, they are dying. They die when they blow up. It's not just like they teleport or whatever. They literally die.
I mean, that does make sense.
Which does. So as you're getting ready to go to the final castle, you're working with Bowser, and you're loading up on his airship, and a bunch of Bam-Am come up, and they're like, we're ready to help. And they explain to you, whenever one blows up, one just happens to be right there. They're like, they always die, but a new one comes up, and they always have their own different memories. The entire final section, you're firing Bam-Ams out of a cannon to attack. Like,
so you're just sacrificing a bunch of bombs.
You're sacrificing a bunch of Bam-Ams to blow up, like, paper airplanes. And I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this. But this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is a little fucked.
But yeah, it's a great game. It definitely worth a check out. I think there's a few, like, little side things I never did, but I really liked it. And the finale, like, the beating the game was, I mean, it was beating a Paper Mario game. Everything works out in the end, but it was nice. It was cute. I liked it.
Yeah, that's a game that I definitely want to check out at some point.
Yeah, totally check it out when you get a chance. Like, maybe if it ever goes on sale. They've been doing good sales from time to time, especially with Mario games.
Yeah, usually after they've been out for like a year or two, it seems like they'll do like a $20 sale or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't mind waiting for it. So sticking with some Nintendo stuff, more rumors about an upgraded Switch coming next year.
Oh, yeah?
These things keep happening once a year. This one was reported by Bloomberg, though. So they're saying that Nintendo has finalized plans for an upgraded Switch for next year. And they're planning on letting Microsoft and Sony kind of fight out this holiday season.
Which makes sense, seeing as how we still don't have a fucking price or release date yet.
So, I saw this actually on Twitter today. They did not announce the price or release date for the Switch until 2 months beforehand. So it was announced in early January, and it was released in early March.
That, like, I'm not as annoyed with as these two companies, because they're releasing them right next to each other.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But also, you plan on only getting one of them.
Yes, I'm getting the PS5. It's doubt about it. Maybe eventually, somewhere down the line, I might get an Xbox, but no, I'll just upgrade my PC and play all the Xbox games on PC.
Well, you'll just buy a new PC because yours is old enough. There's no upgrading.
Yeah. I mean, I can keep the case.
Yeah, but why? Cases are so cheap. Why bother?
I know.
Like, you can get a decent case for like $20.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this would also explain why there's really no, like, big first-party stuff coming the rest of the year. At least none announced. So the article goes on to say that, the upgraded version is looking to take, advantage of, like, 4K and increased compute power.
Mm-hmm.
And that a slew of new games would come along with it to take advantage of the new hardware. Which reminds me a little bit of, like, the new 3DS, where, like, there were a couple of games, like, not many, that you could only play on the new 3DS.
Yeah.
But then there were also a bunch of 3DS games that just didn't play well on the original hardware after the new one came out. Which is also what, like, third-party games are having happen on PS4 and Xbox with the Pro and the Series X.
Yeah.
Like, you hear a lot of times, like, AAA third-party titles that, like, barely run on, like, a base PS4.
Yeah.
So, like, hopefully that doesn't happen. Like, I don't want them to release an upgraded Switch and then suddenly, like, we can't play, like, the new, like, Nintendo first-party stuff correctly.
Yeah, I don't want my launch Switch to become an Animal Crossing machine.
Exactly.
I want to be able to continue to use it. Like, and look, if it comes out and it is good enough and strong enough, like, it might be a console that I'll pick up and I'll keep and yes, my old Switch will then stay an Animal Crossing machine. But I'll actually have it for other things, and because there's cloud saves, I'd figure it out. But, like, yeah, I don't want to be forced to buy a new system that I already have.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. But yeah, so, I mean, there's not much else about this, but it sounds like Bloomberg actually got, like, some inside knowledge on this.
Yeah. Just
based on the wording of, like, they have finalized their plans for it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see what comes about early next year.
Yeah.
And then the last bit of news we have, we didn't talk about this last week, but last week there was an indie showcase, and then this week, today, there was a partner direct.
Yeah.
I did not watch either of them. I looked at what was shown, and none of it interested me, so I just skipped them.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you talk about this stuff.
I did a quick, like, TLDR, for these, because, like, there are a bunch of things on there, that, like, aren't necessarily super interesting, for everyone. I'll start with the indie showcase, because that was last week. The first thing they showed was, there's a game, it's an isometric roguelike called Hades.
So, it's worth mentioning too, most of the stuff shown at both of these were previously announced or on other platforms. Like, Hades has been out on PC since 2018 in early access.
Yeah, it's early access, and it's coming to Switch. I even wrote comes to Switch. It also comes with cross saves. So if you have it on your PC and you want to play it on your Switch, you can transfer that save over.
Yeah, it's Supergiant, which did Pyre like a couple years ago.
They did Bastion.
Transistor.
And
Bastion.
Yeah. So I've had Bastion on my PC forever. I had a controller to play it. I bought a controller specifically to play Bastion on my PC, but I never actually got around to playing it, and then I gave my dad that controller, so I don't really know whatever happened to it. But, like, Bastion was a great game, from what I had seen and what I had heard. And, like, they've always made some decent games like this. They're a good indie developer. The next one, of note was, Spiritfarer, which they did show at a previous direct. But we saw more of, like, the art style. And we heard more about the story where you hand make your boat and then you help creatures go on to the afterlife. So it's a game I don't think I'll ever emotionally be able to play.
So you become the new guide on the river Styx is the story.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, I don't think I don't think I'd be able to get past the initial game because I'm like, I don't want to send this lion to the afterlife. Then there was another game which was cool. Like, the concept was interesting. It's called Takeshi and Hiroshi. It is an Apple. It's on iOS. I don't know if it's on anything else, but like it is like the main point. The gameplay part was like cartoony graphics, but like the kind of story stuff was it looked more claymation. And you're an older brother who has a sick younger brother. and the older brother, like, develops games and is, like, trying to quickly develop this game to, like, for his younger brother so that he can play it. And so you get to, like, plan out the levels and basically choose what he has to go after. Again, another game I probably won't be able to emotionally play because the younger brother is a sick younger brother, and that'll make me cry because I have a soul, unlike Cobb.
No, you're just a bitch.
The next one looked pretty cool. It was Raji, an Ancient Epic. It is the first title come out from Nottinghead Games, which is an Indian development team. It gave me like Ico vibes, and it seemed pretty cool. I more so wanted to reference that's like it's their first title. They're an Indian dev team. The next one, second to last one in this list was Bear and Breakfast. You're a bear who runs a bed and breakfast out in the woods, and it looks cute. It kind of gives me Stardew feels. Like it feels like kind of Stardew Valley-esque. So I thought it was pretty cool. It's one of those games that I'm probably going to check out at some point. And then
put way too many hours into.
Yeah, and then put way too many hours into, stop playing it, and then 6 months later go back and start over. And then the last thing that they showed on the showcase as well as like worth mentioning, they are House is adding co-op in Goose Game, in Untitled Goose Game. So I think it's available now. I'm not sure. I don't think
I think it is too, and it lets you play with one other person, local co-op.
Yes,
which is neat.
Some other cool things with Untitled Goose Game, you can they actually have physical copies now that you can buy through their website. You can also pre-order the vinyl album, which the music was really cool in that game. So if you're into like the vinyl stuff, that's something to check out as well. That's
cool.
Yeah. So it's just like a bunch of quick little indie games that they highlighted that I thought were interesting to highlight. Then they had the Partner Direct today. The first thing that I feel like was worth mentioning, they showed they have a collection of Taiko no Tetsuken, which is Taiko Drum Master. There's 2 different games, and they're like RPG style Taiko Drum Master games. So if you're in, they had like 3 rhythm games right off the bat. It was like Kingdom Hearts, something else, and Taiko. And I was just like, alright, they're really leaning strong into the rhythm, but Taiko has always been like a cool kind of game that I've always been interested in, that you can check out. I think it might be available now or soon.
I think it's soon, I don't think it's now.
Next, they are releasing, I guess you could call them remasters of the Saga collection.
Well, they announced this back in the spring, I believe.
I remember them saying something about Saga, but this is not that. I don't think.
So there's 2 different. There's 2 different collections that got released. There's this one that's coming up, and then there was the Mana collection, which is already out.
Yeah.
So this was shown the same time that they showed the Mana stuff.
Okay.
And these were, I think, actually like not remakes, but like
you could call them rough remasters because it's the original game, but like they enhanced, like they gave you a speed up mode, and it's like it's the original feel with the original soundtrack. They added an additional song or something.
Yeah.
I've never played them. I thought this would be more something up your alley than my alley.
I was never really interested. The same thing with the Mana games. Like they never really like struck with me. And in a lot of cases, I found that if I didn't play like the SNES or like PS1 era RPGs like back then, I have a lot of trouble getting into them now. Like I've tried to play Chrono Trigger like a dozen times, and it's interesting and I like it, but I just very quickly fade off of it.
Yeah. The next 2 things, or the last thing that was worth mentioning, and then I have like an honorable mention that I just want to comment on. The last thing that was worth mentioning, they did show some stuff about Crystal Chronicles, the remaster that comes out tomorrow. I think it comes
sounds right.
It comes out the 28th, so tomorrow from the time that you're listening to this, probably.
I believe the Saga stuff is scheduled for like later this year.
Yeah. Like we've known about the Crystal Chronicles remaster for a while, but one thing we didn't talk about that was announced a while back, free to start at launch. So they're going to have a Crystal Chronicles Lite version that you can download, and you can play it free to, like, you can play a few maps of it. And then there's also what they're calling an extended multiplayer mode, which I'm not really sure what that is, but only one person has to own the game in order to play that mode. You just
But
have
that's
to.
pretty cool.
I guess you just have to have the light version, which I always loved. Crystal Chronicles. I love that game back in the day. I think I had Crystal Chronicles 1 and 2. I know I had 1. I might have had 2. I can't remember.
I only played like maybe an hour of the first one, and it never really clicked with me.
It's definitely not a game for you. I know that for a fact because it doesn't have to be multiplayer, but it's a lot easier multiplayer.
Yeah, and I think that's why I didn't play games. Like the only game I played with people back then would have been like Halo.
Yeah, the summer that this came out, it was me, Eric, and our friend Shahid, and we all got together like every weekend and played different multiplayer games all together. So like we did a Legend of Mana game all weekend, and in those games, the battle system, you can have a controller control each character, and because it's like kind of action fighting and not like turn-based fighting. So like we did that with a ton of games, and Crystal Chronicles is one of them, where the three of us got together and we played it. I unfortunately always ended up being the person carrying around the crystal, but from time to time I would put it down and attack, and I always love those games, and it's cool that they're doing like this light version and the like extended multiplayer type thing.
Yeah, that is actually pretty cool.
And then one other thing they showed, which I mentioned earlier, they showed a little bit more about Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. Okay. The one thing I just hate right now is they said, enjoy a brand new chapter, which means you have to play Melody of Memory to have everything.
Yep, I told you that a while ago.
Fuck
I said you have to play Melody of Memory.
Fuck that, man. Like, oh my god. No, why?
Welcome. More Kingdom Hearts.
Why?
Have fun.
No, I don't need it.
You do.
I haven't even gone back to Triple D. Like,
why? But Triple D is like one of the best shows on Food Network.
I love Triple D, but I haven't gone back to 3D. Like, oh man, why are you gonna... I'm gonna Google it. I really am. Or wait until...
No, just get the game and play it. Don't be that guy.
But here's the problem. Normally I would say, yeah, sure. But not only are you paying the Disney tax, is this only a Switch game or is it for everything?
I think it's only Switch.
So you're also paying the Nintendo tax.
Yeah, it's going to be $60, that's all.
Exactly. It's not going to be worth it.
It'll be a new story.
No, it's not a new story. A new fucking chapter. Probably only like 20 minutes. But
how are you going to find out what happens to Sora and Riku and Kairi and Mickey and Xehanort and Roxas?
From what I am led to understand, in order to get the full thing, you have to get the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, and then once you're done all that, you're done, and you have it all. So why is there a new fucking chapter now, unless it's a prequel, because they're going to try to make more Kingdom Hearts games, even though I believe they said they didn't want to make any more after 3.
No, I think Nomura said he didn't want to make any more. Square Enix will keep pumping them out as long as they sell.
Yeah, that's just that just made me mad.
Yeah, no, I get that. So that's the end of the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, it was just a quick TLDR. There was a bunch of other things shown in both of them. Check out some articles on, I'm sure IGN has them both. IGN,
GameSpot, all of those places had rundowns of them.
Check out more articles. The partner one was only 15 minutes. The indie showcase was about 25, so use your time wisely.
Yeah. So, I watched Sword Art Online 2, which is the second season, basically. But it was like multiple years after the first season.
Yes.
Did you ever watch this one?
No, I never watched any Sword Art Online beyond the first season, I guess. So first and second.
And you watched the entire first season, right?
Well, yeah, the first two. I guess I think it's technically 2 seasons.
No, it's 1 season. It was just 24 episodes.
Yeah, I watched the entire full first season where like they got out of the first game and then went into the other game and
yeah. So Sword Art, like the second season is actually much better than the first one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like the first half of the first season's good, but then the second half kind of sucks. This one, the first half of it is a different game altogether.
Yeah.
It's a shooting game called Gun Gale Online.
Yeah. I've read that like somebody, like the developer of the game or something, tracks down Kirito and wants him to find somebody who's hacked into the game and can kill people.
So it's actually, it's a government person who, like, the guy is part of, like, a portion of, like, a government agency that tracks and monitors these MMOs. Yeah. Particularly after Sword Art, the Sword Art Online incident.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, because he knows that Kirito, you know, is the one that got them out of the first game and also found the killer of the second game. Not that he was the killer, but he had basically imprisoned, 300 people from Sword Art Online to, like, do tests on them.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this adult goes to this fucking 16-year-old to ask him to enter this game where people are fucking being murdered.
Yeah.
So what happens in the game is, like, this weird, like, masked guy shoots somebody in the game, and then that person has a heart attack in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, like, are you going to watch this, do you think?
I mean, you can talk about it freely. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it, but, like...
I would say watch it. Like, the first season is actually really good. You find out that, and like spoilers for the second season, it's a group of people. One person is in the game while other people are outside of the game. Mm-hmm. They find out where the person lives, break into their house while they're diving, and then when they get shot, the person in the real world injects them with, like, a paralytic that seizes their heart.
Oh, okay.
So that it then looks like they died of natural causes, but in the game, the last thing you see is somebody shoot them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kirito joins that game to try and, like, suss this out. It turns out that the guy doing the killing was part of that group from Sword Art Online that, like, went around purposely murdering people.
Yeah.
That they dealt with them a few times.
Yeah.
And he was in particular, like, a guy that got away when they tried to, like, stop them at one point.
Yeah.
And they were, so he does exactly what you expect him to do. He finds a fucking laser sword in that game instead of using a gun.
Yeah, of course. I'm
like,
not surprised.
So they straight up have lightsabers. It makes the noise and everything.
Yeah.
And at one point, like, the new female character for that arc, who is actually probably one of the better characters they introduce, is explaining it, and she's like, yeah, they're called, like, beam swords, and this and that, and she's like, and there's something else they call them, but I can't remember it right now. Yeah. Because they totally just couldn't use the word lightsaber.
Yeah.
But that whole, like, those first 15 episodes were actually super interesting, because it was a totally different style, because it wasn't this, like, high fantasy stuff.
Yeah, it's like Western, wasn't it?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it Western, but there were a lot of, like, Western elements to it.
Yeah.
But, like, the female protagonist of the season, was a sniper. So, like, she carried a giant sniper rifle, and she was apparently one of the best players in the game.
Yeah.
And then, like, after that portion of the game ends, he transitions back to the elf game, and, like, actually the girl from Gun-Gale comes over too. Because I don't know if you remember at the end of the first season, he basically releases, like, the code for, like, these games, like, to make these games. And it just kind of, like, spirals.
Yeah.
And just companies get the source code and make their own games, and you can actually just, because they're all based off of, like, the same, like, core, you can just transfer characters from game to game and, like, retain, like, level and stuff like that, like, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, like, she transitions over to the elf game with them, and there's, like, 2 mini stories after that, where, like, the first one is actually just them playing the game for a change. Like, they go on, like, a quest line to try and get, like, a weapon. And it was actually kind of, like, I wish games actually had quest lines like this, because it was actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then the last handful of episodes, like 5 or 6 episodes, were, a different side story that is maybe one of the most depressing fucking things I've ever seen in an anime.
Mm-hmm.
In an anime that wasn't a drama. Let's put it that way. So Asuna, like, the main female from the first season, and, like, she's a primary character throughout all of it, ends up befriending this other player who needs her for their party because this group of 6 people want to try and defeat one of the level bosses, one of the floor bosses on their own. Whereas normally you go in with, like, full, like, 50-man raids.
Yeah.
They want to do it with just 7 people because they want to get all of their names on, like, the leaderboard, basically. And if you go in with raid groups, it's only the raid leaders that get put up on the board.
Yeah.
And, like, they go through all this, and then you find out that, like, all of them are terminally ill children. Like, they all have less than a year to live.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the one main girl is literally, like, months away from dying of AIDS.
That sucks.
And, like, it's, like, the most tragic thing that you hear, because, like, it turns out that, like, her mother had to get, like, a transfusion during, like, childbirth or something like that, or right before it, and the blood was tainted, and they just didn't know it until, afterwards.
Yeah.
So, like, the mother was infected, and then because the girl had a twin sister, So both of them were also infected.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it was this thing where it's like, Jesus Christ, this went dark.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But like overall, like it was just such a better paced season, I guess. Like the pacing in that show is still, like there's something about it, like they skip over certain things too much and don't flesh the right stuff out.
Yeah.
But it just feels like they did such a better job on the second season than they did on the first.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a third and fourth season. The third season is available dubbed. The fourth season, I think, is airing currently in both Japan and in the US on like Cartoon Network. So the dub isn't available to stream anywhere.
Yeah, I think the third season has nothing to do with the original 2 seasons.
So I looked at like just the synopsis for it. It does. There's a bunch of like memory things going on.
Okay.
So like it is still all the same characters. All of those things happen to him. But like Kirito has some things done to him where he doesn't remember when he's in the game.
Oh, okay.
Like he apparently wakes up in a game and has no idea how he got there.
Weird.
Yeah, and doesn't like remember who he is either, sort of thing. So I don't know where it goes from there, but yeah. Well, Erica and I watched the first 2 seasons actually, like over the last like week or 2.
Yeah.
And we'll probably watch the 3rd season. But then we'll have to wait until the dub of the 4th season's available.
Yeah. The first season was good. I really liked it. I've always wanted to watch the movie.
The movie is just a recap of the first season, I believe.
I don't think so, because there is an instance. I think they fight the final boss in Sword Art. They get to floor 100 and fight the final boss. I've seen
the final boss was Heathcliff,
but they at the end of Sword Art, the original series, they released the codex or the code, and one of the things from releasing the code was Sword Art, that the original Sword Art game was released as well, because that was initially like taken down, or he deleted it once they defeated him, but once he released the code, it came active again, and
so in the show they're actually whatever the castle was called from the what the fuck? Sorry, I'm from the first season.
I don't remember.
So like it was 100 floors basically.
Yeah.
That castle was actually added into the elf game that they're playing.
Yeah.
So they're actually the level boss that all the dying kids wanted to do was like the 25th floors level boss or something like that.
Yeah.
So they're actually back in that castle, going through the floors, clearing them again.
Yeah.
I just actually brought up the movie though. So the movie was released in 2017, it looks like. And it takes place in the year 2026. So it's the year after they get out of the game, I believe.
Yeah.
And it looks like it takes place after season 2, because at least the character from season 2 isn't.
Near the very bottom, I'm just gonna skip, it's mid-paragraph. Unit tells Kirito that the Agama has hidden full dive feature, and he can use it to defeat SAO's 100th floor boss to stop the scan and save everyone. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, they go, and I've seen the final boss fight, because like Facebook.
Is it not just Heathcliff again?
No, it's something different, because Heathcliff was an actual player. That's why he...
Oh, you know what? This is probably the 100th floor boss of, like, the game that is now in the Elf game.
Yes. Like, that whole world of the original Sword Art Online's world was put into that Elf game. But
that's what I was just saying.
Yeah, but a new 100th floor boss was added.
Yeah.
I assume, because Heathcliff was supposed to be the 100th floor boss.
But he was also a real person.
But he was also a real person, so once he was killed, he could no longer be the 100th floor boss.
And so I'm pretty sure in the version of the game that was put into the Elf game, all the bosses are different. Because the boss that the dying kids fought with Asuna, like, she was second in command of the guild that fought all the bosses.
Yeah.
She would have fought that floor's boss already. And it was a surprise when they figured out what the weakness was.
Yeah.
So I doubt that it's, like, they probably, like, all the bosses are probably different.
Yeah. I'm sure they change it. I also always wanted to play the games, because I hear the games are pretty good.
There's just so many of them, and some of them you can't actually get anymore, because they were, like, PSP games.
Yeah.
But so you watched, Power Rangers in Space, huh?
Yes. I had kind of a weird weekend, so I ended up on Friday watching a couple of episodes, and then Sunday I sat down and I watched a couple of episodes, and then a couple more, then a couple more, and then I'd watch the entire series. Much better than Turbo. Much better than Turbo. but at the same time was so weird because
Turbo didn't exactly leave a high bar to beat either.
Well, and Turbo is the reason why this season was so weird, because Turbo did so poorly that they started to go bankrupt when they were starting to film this season.
And isn't this the one where, like, so I remember they, like, Alpha changed a little bit. Like, he got, like, a new voice and all. But isn't this, like, an actual different Alpha now?
No, it is still Alpha 6. Alpha 6, the new Alpha came during Turbo, when Zordon left to go wherever Alpha went with him.
Oh, did Alpha 5 go with him?
Alpha 5 went with him, and Alpha 6 was the yo Alpha that was so horrible New York 90s that, like, he gave me a headache.
Oh, that was Turbo. I thought that version of Alpha was space.
No, that was Turbo. And then at the end of Turbo, the power center gets destroyed. And they go off into space.
Again?
Well, technically it's the first time. Because, yeah, it's been blown up. The interior has been blown up, but the entire thing was never fully destroyed.
Well, because isn't Turbo, they're not actually in, like, the command center up on the mountain. They're, like, in the basement.
No, well, they have been in the basement since Zeo.
Oh, had it been that long?
Yeah, Zeo, they were in the basement. I think midway through Zeo, they went down into the basement area. But it's just, where was I at? Oh, so at the end of Turbo, it gets destroyed, and in the process of it getting destroyed, Alpha's, like, speak chip got busted. So they end up repairing it and giving him a new voice, which the voice I like to call is Alpha Navi, because he sounded just like Navi from Legend of Zelda, and it was kind of more annoying than Yo New York Alpha. The series is just, in general, kind of weird, because, like I said, they were going bankrupt during this, so they had to budget and limit, like, the amount of new filming as much as possible. Bulk and Skull, they're maybe in half the episodes, and their storyline makes no sense.
But they're still on Earth, right?
They're still on Earth, and they work with a doctor, a professor, who's trying to discover life in outer space.
Okay, then.
Yeah, when they've lived in Angel Grove for the past 5 years, that has been constantly attacked by aliens from outer space. Makes no sense.
Yeah, no, that is real dumb.
Yeah, they use, in this season, at least, I feel like they used a lot more pre-filmed Power Rangers scenes than they did in previous seasons. Like the original Sentai scenes for this series.
Okay.
They used a lot more of them in this one, and you can tell because of the glaring difference in quality, and it's already not good filming quality, but it is stuff that is a year older than the previous, because, like, I think this series aired in 98. The original Sentai of that season was 97. So it's
that
like,
seems right, because I think the movie was 95, which means Zeo would have been 96, Turbo would have been 97, and then this would have been 98.
The movie being 95 would have been Ninjas and Angel and Alien Rangers. So yeah, probably. I think yeah. But so, like, the Sentai would be a year older than the series itself is. So, like, there's already some quality issues with the film that you can tell when they jump back and forth. There was one episode. It's called the data. Everyone calls it the data discs episode because Astronema had found a way to turn people into data discs, and they're like these long green, like, tablet things. That at the beginning of the episode, the camera work is so terrible. They're all in their Power Rangers costumes. They go onto a cruise ship to make sure that everyone is fine on the cruise ship, and the camera is just constantly swaying and curving back and forth because they're on a fucking cruise ship. It gave me a headache.
And this is like a space cruise ship?
No, this is on Earth's cruise ship. So
they go to Earth in this show?
Well, they go out into space. They meet
Andros,
and then become the Power Rangers, and return back to Earth because they have to defend Earth, as well as look for Zordon in space. They have to defend Earth because Astronema is attacking Earth, because apparently that's the only planet to attack.
Yeah, I thought that whole season was just them traveling in space.
No, they tend to be on Earth, but they do travel out into space a lot, and the space travel is basically instantaneous, because I mean, it's a kid's show that's only 30 minutes. Not even, it's 22 minutes. But I forgot, I'm pretty sure I watched the end of the series. Or at least the very last episode. And do you remember what happened to all the villains, the main villains?
Yeah, they all became like evil was cleansed from the universe. Like Zordon sacrifices himself and like cleanses all of the villains. So like Zed and Rita become like trailer park people. Well, if I remember correctly.
No, Zed and Rita were already trailer park. Like they had a trailer that they traveled space in. But they weren't trailer park people. They became like, Zed became like an older man, like a middle-aged man, and Rita became like herself. They weren't trailer trash people, and they actually looked fancy.
Oh, okay. So I was just kind of like, I was mashing the two together.
Yeah. Diva Tox became like not evil. Like all evil was, like you said, was cleansed. So I forgot that happened, and it made me laugh so much. But I'm happy I finally cleared up and finished the Zordon era. I'm in no rush to go to Lost Galaxy, which is the next one. But anytime I finish a series and get ready to watch a new one, I read up on the original Sentai. Did you know that Lost Galaxy's Sentai series was a jungle-based series? But because the In Space series did so well, they decided to pull it with the Lost Galaxy tag and have it be more in space again.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I can't remember the name of the Sentai series, but it is more jungle based. So there's a lot more.
So it was Seiju Sentai Gigamon.
Yeah, and so there's a lot more they had to do with explaining why they were fighting in a jungle and stuff, and a lot more CG they had to do. It also, I guess, explains why they each have their own Zords in this one, whereas in space they didn't because their Zord was their fucking spaceship, which don't let me get into. Oh,
that's right. I forgot about that.
Don't let me get into the logistics of your spaceship also being your Zord.
Wait, didn't the spaceship break into 5 separate cockpits too?
It was a single the ship they took out into space at the end of Turbo ended up being somehow by design from Zordon, even though NASA DA, NASADA. Nasada built it. Wasn't anything part of the Power Rangers, but apparently Zordon designed for it to be the head of the Astro Megazord, which was Andros' ship. Yeah, which was Andros' ship. And so the initial what's the word? The initial Megazord. That's it. Words are disappearing right now. The initial Megazord was just fucking Andros' ship with a spaceship basically on top of it. Then they got the Delta Mega ship, which was the Phantom Rangers ship that didn't need a crew, and that was the thing that upgraded the Astro Mega ship and Megazord into the Delta Astro Megazord. Oops. And then they got the Voyager? I think it was the Voyager Megazord, which was a normal rocket, a humanoid-looking robot, and a couple of extra rocket ships, basically. And then the Silver Ranger also got the wing, the Mega Winger, which was his own Zord. The wings of it combined with the Mega Voyager to make it be able to fly. So there was 4 Zords. There were 4 Megazords in this version that all got destroyed by the end of it, except for the Astro Megazord.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was insane. They had some of the cooler episodes had the Psycho Rangers, which I vaguely remembered them as well, and they were just evil versions of the Power Rangers. They were really cool though. They did a lot. They did some good camera work with using a character who was supposed to look like a character from the Japanese versions because they were in the same scenes as the Power Rangers. They did some good camera work to make them look like they were the same person, which was a little girl. That really didn't happen throughout the entire run of the show until this series, because they had so little money that they needed to fit everything in. Is there anything else? I don't know. It's Power Rangers in space.
Was this the one that had the Ninja Turtles.
Yes. It had the Ninja Turtles crossover, the one episode. Oh my god, how bad that was. I forgot about it until I saw the episode, and I was like, this is terrible. Like, the season as a whole, outside of the Power Ranger stuff, had some weird storylines. Like, it had the Ninja Turtles that apparently live in the same universe as the Power Rangers. So the Ninja Turtles, or at least the Next Mutation Ninja Turtles, are canon with all Power Ranger series now. Another weird storyline they had was the Yellow Ranger's grandma came to visit Angel Grove and was trying to find a husband for the Yellow Ranger, whom is 16.
That sounds about right.
It was so weird and awkward. I couldn't pay attention to half that episode because I was just like, this is weird. I don't like it.
Who is the Yellow?
Her name is Ashley. She was the ranger that was picked from...
Okay. Yep. I'm on like the fandom wiki for Power Rangers. I just clicked on the character.
Yeah. And so the end of In Space, another little bit of trivia. The reason they decided to do Lost Galaxies because the last 2 episodes of In Space got such good publicity and got such high ratings that they decided to make another series.
And then they use the villain from Lost Galaxy as a ranger. The villain for In Space as a ranger in Lost Galaxy.
Kind of. It's not... I don't think it's the same... Like,
no, it's the same actress and everything.
Is it? Okay.
It's Andros. So, I was actually just reading this too, but I remember it now, because I saw bits of In Space and Lost Galaxy. But if I remember correctly, it's like the original Pink Ranger either dies...
Yes.
Or leaves or something like that. So
it is, Lost Galaxy is the only series to ever have, or at least the first series to have a Ranger actually die.
Yeah, so she dies, and then the girl who was, what was it, Andromeda or something like that?
Astronema was her villain name. It was,
Carone is who she is as like a not villain.
Yeah.
Becomes the Pink Ranger to try and like atone for everything she did as a villain.
Yeah. The reason they killed the Pink Ranger is because the actress herself was diagnosed with leukemia and she needed to, they wanted to keep her on staff, so they kept her credited, but they killed off her character so she could fight leukemia and they could continue to pay for her treatments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I read that up. That's like some really interesting trivia with that. But yeah, so she survived and not recovered, but I guess she's in remission. I really don't know how leukemia works.
Apparently.
But she returned for the final episode. They brought her back to life in Lost Galaxy. Cool. Yeah. So she is like still a Power Ranger.
Yeah, it looks like she was in an episode. She was in 33 episodes of Lost Galaxy, 1 episode of Lightspeed Rescue, and 1 episode of Time Force.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought Time Force came before Lightspeed Rescue, but I was wrong.
I can't say. I'm not sure.
So I'm looking at it right now. So it was 99 was Lost Galaxy, 2000 was Lightspeed Rescue, 2001 was Time Force. Yeah. Time Force is the only, I believe, is still the only series where the Red Ranger is not the leader, and the leader is a female.
I think so. Yeah. There's female mentors. So Demetria in Turbo was the first female mentor, and there's a number of other female mentors. But yeah, she might be the only female, or in that one, she might be the only female leader.
So I think there is a female Red Ranger, so she might be the leader, like from like one of the more recent series, like in the last like decade or so.
Yeah.
Because in the comics that they've been doing for Power Rangers, like during the Shattered Grid thing, they had Rangers from all eras kind of like showing up.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like, I don't know who this fucking character is. Like,
yeah.
Anything beyond like Time Force, I just had no fucking clue.
Yeah. So like, I'm happy I finally finished the Zordon. I am actually kind of excited to get into Lost Galaxy and beyond because these are the series that are like a full, complete story from beginning to end. They're not really tied to, although they are the same universe, obviously, in Galaxy and Earth, as the previous series, they only really tie in on occasion with, like, maybe a single episode. So there is a single episode of Lost Galaxy that all of the Rangers from In Space are in, and they are Power Rangers.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Lost Galaxy, I think, is the last one that's, like, has, like, legitimate ties to what came before, because... Like you said, like the the previous team is there. Bulk and Skull are there. The previous villain is a Ranger. So those two seasons actually tie together better than the later seasons do.
So in every season there is a team up episode with previous Rangers from here on out.
I know that, but I just mean like a team up episode and like having sort of like threads that still trace back to what came before are a little different.
Yeah.
Like Bulk and Skull were still like characters in Lost Galaxy.
Only Bulk.
Oh, was Skull not there?
From what I read, Skull does not show up. And I don't think he comes back until the end of Ranger Samurai.
No, I think Skull was in Forever Red.
He might have been then. But I know, because I remember the Samurai Rangers, Bulk wanted to was trying to train somebody to become a parent, like his nephew or something like that. And I saw the final episode. Skull shows up at the very end of the final episode or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely thought Bulk and Skull were both. Like, I believe you that they weren't, because you've actually looked into this more recently. But in my head, like, they were both, they were both there. Oh, no, yeah, so, under civilians, it says Bulk, the Professor, and Skull.
I read I could have swore I read somewhere that Skull wasn't in it, but it also might have been,
So, you know what?
mistyped.
He might have... I was going to say, he may have only been in maybe, like, an episode or something, like maybe the first episode, because under seasons for, like, his character, it says Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, In Space, and then Super Samurai.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so under episode appearances, he was in 148 episodes of Mighty Morphin, 49 of Zeo, 39 of Turbo, 13 In Space, 1 Lost Galaxy, 1 Wild Force, which would be Forever Red, the Super Samurai, and then the movie.
Yeah. So Jason Narvi, who's Skull, was uncredited for 1 episode in Lost Galaxy.
Okay.
That makes more sense. It's according to IMDb. Alpha 6, thank God, is only in 3 episodes of Lost Galaxy. Bulk.
Yeah, really.
Bulk and the Professor are both only in 4 episodes of Lost Galaxy.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like, Bulk was in all the same stuff up to space as Skull.
Yeah.
And then Lost Galaxy, Samurai, and Super Samurai.
Yeah.
And it looks like he was in 17 episodes of Samurai and 15 episodes of Super Samurai.
Yeah.
Which I think that was just, 8 or 9 years ago?
Super Samurai and Super Samurai were, more recent, relatively recent.
8 or 9, that was still 8 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's more recent than In Space, which was 99.
Yeah,
or Lost Galaxies, which was 99.
But, I think that was one of those situations where I said 8 or 9 years, and you're like, no, 8 or 9 years would have been, 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happened sooner ago than that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that is probably going to do it.
I think so, too.
Cool. Well, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com, and you can help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can help us by going to your favorite podcast platform, supporting us, I messed that up. Favorite podcast platform. Let's try that again. iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all those things. You can rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All that stuff helps a whole lot. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with more to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.